Billahi minash shaitani rajim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First of all, I welcome you all for taking the time from your busy schedules and be with us tonight. Our topic tonight is Fasting Unlocked, a doctor's guide to longevity and vitality. My name is Dr. Amtur Rahman Ahmed, and I'm a pediatrician with many years' experience as a chief medical officer, medical director, and also served as associate professor in Finch University, Wright State University, and Marquette University, with a vast teaching experience in medical schools as well. I have been a medical doctor for 42 years. I love Dr. Rahman's lectures because I myself take special interest in healthy diet and healthy lifestyle changes in my patients' lives. And without any further delay, I take pride in introducing our speaker for tonight's webinar, Dr. Hafiz Rahman. Dr. Hafiz Rahman is a board-certified internal medicine physician with over 25 years of experience in private practice. His practice focuses on evidence-based clinical management of diabetes and obesity-related metabolic disorders. Dr. Rahman is a fellow of American College of Physicians. He is affiliated with St. Mary's Hospital in Amsterdam, New York, and serves as a clinical faculty member for the nurse practitioner program at Russell Sage College, Albany, New York. Now, some ground rules for tonight's program. At the moment, we have our presence on Zoom and live streaming on YouTube. At the conclusion of this program presentation, we will take questions. Those on Zoom may raise their hands, and I will be happy to unmute you, or write your question in the chat group, and I will address your questions. Those on the YouTube could also write their questions in the chat, and I would be happy to read them. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hafiz Rahman. Dr. Saab.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amtul Rahman, for introducing me, such a nice introduction. And I'm very glad to be here tonight with you all. And I'm very thankful that you took time from your busy schedules to be here with us. Today's topic is very near and dear to me. And the reason is that people continue to ask me that, Doctor, give us the guide to longevity and vitality. And the reality is that the real solution to this question, or real answer to this question, lies in an ancient practice that has been known to mankind for generations. Many cultures have it. Many faith-based communities have it. And the reason behind is that because it works and it creates certain changes in the human body that is conducive to recycling and better management of our energy. And that is today's talk. So I will start my talk today with the series of trivia questions, just to get you guys alerted about this topic, so that you have a clarity on the line that we're going to be speaking today. So a calorie is a calorie no matter where it comes from. Is this true or is it false? So there's no good or false, wrong answers. You just keep it in your mind that I just want to create this awareness with this slide, that a calorie is not a calorie where it comes from, actually. A calorie is a calorie when it is connected with a specific food item. That is the most important concept to understand. Food industry would like us to understand that a calorie is a calorie no matter where it comes from, so that there is a moral justification to use food items that actually food in the book of the food industry, but in reality is not a food, so that calories are written on them, on the screen, on their bottles, on their packages, and people say, oh, it's 100 calories cookie, let me take it. And apple has 100 calories less. It's just, it's a comparison of an apple to a cookie. And it's a calorie versus another calorie. Absolutely not true. So that we have to keep in mind. Now, the next question is that what is the cheapest way to lose weight? Is it metformin? Is it proper hydration? Is it intermittent fasting? Is it GLP agonist drugs? Or is it phentermine? Now you could, again, in your mind, think of an answer. I will give you an answer in just 1 minute. Well, metformin is cheap, of course, but you still got to spend some money on it. Hydration, well, you got to buy water. Unless you're tap water, you're lucky to have your tap water, tested by your community, and they say that's safe to drink. Otherwise, you got to spend money to buy water too. GLP drugs, of course, don't even talk about the cost. They're very expensive. Phentermine, although cheap, but still slightly more expensive than metformin. So the only thing that doesn't have a cost here is fasting. Okay, so that's the cheapest way, actually. Now, which of the following is under voluntary control, meaning in your own control? Ingestion, meaning that you're eating. Digestion, meaning whatever you ate becomes part of your body. Metabolism, that once you have digested the macronutrients, and then the glucose, amino acids, and fats travel towards your liver and becomes a part of your body. That's metabolism. Is that under your voluntary control? Or excretion at the end of our gastrointestinal tract, there is an excretory route. Which one of them is under our voluntary control? I hope your answer is ingestion, meaning feeding, taking in the food is in our voluntary control. So now let me, from here, guess how many calories of a fat person has if the 50% of their body weight is fat. Well, so weight is 200 pounds. Let's suppose 50%, and the body composition analysis scale shows you that 50% of that is fat, of their body weight. That is 100 pounds. And each pound roughly carries 3,500 calories of the fat. So each pound of fat carries 3,500 calories. So that would be 350,000 calories. Imagine that somebody has these many calories in their body. And if you will be generous to give somebody, suppose 2,000 calories a day to eat without feeding them at all, so that they're feeding on their own fat, it will be 175 days. It will take your body to use the fat that you carry in your body for energy. Here is a guy, and you guys all know him, Hippocrates. He said once that to eat when you're sick is to feed your sickness. So very profound statement. And actually, from this statement, we will formally start our talk about the topic that we are about to start, after laying the foundation that I have laid in front of you. Fasting, generally, in terms of food intake, has two major categories. Fasting could be caloric, and fasting could be metabolic, and I will explain how. Caloric fasting is that you are abstaining from any type of food other than hydration. And in some religious practices, like in Islam, you do not even drink water during the time of fasting, but those are prescribed hours of fasting. Sun up to just right before sun coming up to the sundown. And that is a caloric fast, meaning you're not drinking, you're not eating, you just ate, you start, you drink and you eat, and then you keep your fast until whatever time that is for the season that you're fasting comes to the end. And the other is metabolic, where you consume certain things, cautiously speaking, and you also hydrate yourself throughout the day with water only. Or you could add salt or lemon, squeeze lemon in it. And also you could have small amount of MCT oil. You could have small amount of butter in your coffee, or have some bone broth. That is considered a metabolic fast. Why is it considered a metabolic fast? Because that does not disturb the path of the insulin. Insulin gets triggered by mainly carbohydrates and some amino acids. It does not get triggered by a fat substance. So you're able to sort of like bypass the the channels so that insulin doesn't get triggered. And insulin is the main hormone that decides to convert the nutrients into fat in your body. So with that understanding, it is important for us to know the two categories. Now, the next thing that people all the time ask is, are the time restricted eating and intermittent fasting the same? Well, so time restricted eating is actually a part of intermittent fasting, but the reality is that there is a structured situation with time restricted eating, meaning that you decide that on certain hours of the day, you are not going to eat, and on certain other window of the time, you're going to eat. And in the case of intermittent fasting, you fast some days, you don't fast the other days. Some people fast 5 days, they don't fast 2 days, that kind of situation. So they are not the same, but at the same time, they overlap with each other. So it's important terminology to remember. Now we're going to talk about what are the immediate symptoms expected when an intermittent fasting is started. Why? Because people are somehow deathly afraid of fasting, even though you give them assurance with the fat analysis that I just gave you guys at the start of the talk. With that kind of enormous collection of the fatty tissue readily available to provide you double the amount of calories per gram, still people are afraid to fast. And without fasting, the problem is you're not going to be able to burn the fat that's sitting in your body. It is nearly impossible to achieve that goal. That's why one of my mantra in the weight loss business has been that you cannot outrun or out exercise a bad diet. You can't. So you would expect greater hunger. Why? Because the bodies are used to the caloric intake of glucose and fructose. That's why the moment they are absent, they have a lot of hunger pangs come on their way. They get headache. Why headache? Because your brain and your body is so used to glucose that when you abstain from it, it becomes a terrible sort of reaction in your brain and in your body. Good news is that the hunger, which is mainly triggered by ghrelin, is short-lived, 15 to 20 minutes. And if you drink water or a green tea at that time, it subsides. You just gotta drink water, because remember, the centers of the thirst and the centers of the hunger are the same in the brain. So when you put water in, it helps. You could put some salt in your water and it subsides. I made a clip a few days ago where I did a 24-hour, but I did the metabolic fast, and I was able to do just fine because the fat calories kept me going that are already in my body. Headache will also subside. Irritability because of the lack of glucose and fructose will also subside. Fatigue will also subside. So all of these symptoms do happen when you are fasting. Now let's talk about stages of the fasting so that you could understand what's happening in your body and you could give yourself some comfort that our body is a remarkable machine that is built with precision by God Almighty. And you'll be amazed on this very short journey that I will take you on as to how important this fasting is. So when you stop eating, that's when the clock starts for the fasting. So when you put your fork down, that's when it starts. So 0 to 4 hours is a fed state. So you just ate, your body is busy trying to digest that. Obviously, your blood sugar goes up in order to tackle that blood sugar. So remember, you ate it, you put it in your mouth, it went into your stomach. From your stomach, the gastric juices did its job. It went to intestine. It got, then it went to your bloodstream. But before going to bloodstream, it goes to your liver for processing. So that much time it takes for the body to process sugar. So obviously, it takes that long time for the sugar to start showing up. So depending on how fast the sugary stuff you're eating, it could go from 0 to 30 minutes, 0 to 15 minutes. If you're having a full teaspoonful of sugar, it would rock right away. If you're drinking soda, which has 9 to 10 times more sugar, it will rock right away. If you're having an apple, of course, that has high fiber, it would take a little bit time, a lot longer time. But anyway, your blood sugar goes up, your insulin comes out from the pancreas to tackle it, and your body starts making glycogen. Glycogen is the stored form of simply a chain of glucose molecules that are made in the liver and in the skeletal muscles for a short supply for when you are in fasting state for initial hours. 4 to 16 hours is the next stage, which is called post-absorptive state. That's when insulin starts dropping. The counter-regulatory hormone, glucagon, goes up. That's when the lipolysis starts, meaning the fat gets mobilized, because by then, towards the 12th hour, so 12th hour is when your body is able to burn glucose also by burning glycogen and the glucose that it had from the last meal. Then, after 12 hours, roughly speaking, and it depends on everybody's glucose intake, but roughly after 12 hours, your body starts switching to the fat metabolism, meaning your fat starts getting burned for energy. And growth hormone gets up on this time too. Why? Its main job is to preserve the muscles. So if you have a fear that we're going to lose muscles, that you could put to the rest that for this much hours, you're not losing your muscles, okay? The next stage is glycogen depletion, which is from 16 hours to 24, so completely almost depletes the glycogen. There's no more ready-made glucose from it. And then you have a free fatty acid flowing, and when the free fatty acid reaches to liver's capacity, it goes beyond the liver's capacity, then of course, ketones start getting made. By then, ketones get an access to the bloodstream after being synthesized from the liver, and they are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and start providing brain the energy. So heart and brain, they love this fuel source. So I always say glucose is diesel and ketones are electric energy. So that's much how clean the ketones are compared to the glucose, okay? And then, of course, not only that you start having ketosis at that stage at pretty good rate, free fatty acids are going on other tissues who can use free fatty acids from the wherever adipose tissue is. So most of the tissues can use free fatty acids for energy. And remember, the stored form of glucose is triglyceride. The word tri means three free fatty acid chains and one glycerol. So the glycerol also gets utilized to be made glucose so that your brain can continue to receive glucose until ketones reach. You see how smart the human body is? And then once eventually all the sources of glucose synthesis are gone, then the ketones are ready and the brain continues to function properly. And that's a stage, by the way, where brain feels great, more clarity, better thinking, and at that stage, the early autophagy starts too. Autophagy is all those old junky proteins that has been glycated from the glucose and fructose starts getting used for the energy usage by the body. And so the body starts using them, and also the old cells, the cellular turnaround, all that is part of autophagy or a phenomenon of autophagy. And that is very good because that's your body is trying to detoxify, your body is trying to burn all these old junky proteins and old cellular debris and getting used up for the synthesis of the glucose in the gluconeogenesis or for the energy channels through the liver. Then comes more deeper states of the fasting, which is 24 hours to 48 hours. The ketosis keeps going, the ketones keep marking up. Insulin, of course, remains down because there is no business of insulin at this stage at all, because there's no glucose around for insulin to do anything. Growth hormone keeps up to preserve your muscles, also to make new proteins, because during the autophagy, the cellular turnover and all those old machinery that got consumed, now the new cellular machinery gets formed under the orders of the growth hormone. So it's an excellent stage of the body's repair. The immune system gets repaired. It is a very good time for the body. And more prolonged time is 48 to 72 hours when you are in deep ketosis, your body's still burning very efficiently, almost 100% on the fat fuel. And at that time, something nice happens. BDNF gets released, which is called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is very good for your neuronal health, for your central nervous system's health. And it is a very important factor that gets triggered at a more deeper fasting stage. And then from there on, it's 3 to 5 days, which is a prolonged fasting, which we don't recommend on regular basis unless your body is fully conditioned, you're not sick, you're not taking medications, you're under the care of a physician properly, so that they know exactly what's happening with you. They're checking your blood work and all those things to know exactly where you stand. That's when your stem cells get activated. Stem cells are those cells that are not named for any tissue. That means that the body gets to repair better, immune system gets overhaul and gets repaired. And then beyond this is over 5 days, which is beyond the scope of this topic. We could talk about it, that what else happens beyond 5 days. Not only this, when you don't eat, you improved your gut bacteria, because the bad bugs that have come into your intestines to live and to make your intestines home. And that's why people feel their stomachs and their intestines are bloated. They're not feeling healthy. They eat something, they feel bloated. Those bad guys get killed by the fasting because they don't get nourished. And as a result, the new or the good bacteria that were always part of your intestines, a gift from your mother, again get to relive and uh, give your intestines more lease of the life. And of course, as you know, they help to make short chain fatty acids, which are um, particularly butyric acid, butyrate, which is very, very good substance for our body. Not only this, they help us with serotonin synthesis. which is another topic for some another day. But the good bacteria are your good friends. They are part of you. They live with you. They outnumber you from 10 trillion to 100 trillion. We got to take care of them. Otherwise, these bad guys will come in and they will start eating our intestines from within, causing leaky gut syndrome, which is very dangerous. What are some benefits in summary for the fasting? Well, as we said, boost your immune health, reduce inflammation, by the way. So when you do not eat and you let your fat burn, your fat burns, your fat brings ketones. Ketones bring reduction in the inflammation. So all those joint pains get reduced, the uric acid goes down. Uh, all that thing helps you recover, and also it slows down your aging. You see, the skin, the dead skin that, or the hanging skin that people are so concerned about, that extra tissue gets consumed by the body for energy sources during the autophagy state. So it is a great way for your vitality, for your graceful aging, for your better skin, for your hair, for your sexual health, everything. Of course, you get weight loss, which is a great benefit, without investing any money and giving your body a chance to recuperate. Uh, and it also causes increased sensitivity of the insulin. We spend a great deal of effort and we give people medications to increase the insulin sensitivity, because if your insulin is more sensitive, if your tissues are more sensitive to the insulin, your insulin will work better with a smaller amount and for a shorter duration. Because the longer duration the insulin remains in your body, it continues to create damage, it continues to create inflammation, it continues to synthesize fat in your tissue, and that's a problem. And the other benefit is that, of course, your digestive problems heal, and you feel great, your intestines feel better, you feel lighter, your mood is much more better, and it's all the way a good answer and solution. Now, in order to be in contact with me, I'm all over the social media. I have my own YouTube channel. You could reach out to me through Instagram, Facebook, and these addresses are written there, Twitter, and TikTok. So, and we're trying to educate the public, and we're putting every day some small clip, some um, um, sort of victory laps for patients that have lost weight and their success stories, some challenge stories, food ideas, how to control craving, all those we have discussed. And we have over 140 videos that you could look and enjoy and use it for your benefit. I have also made several clips for how busy people can do short bursts of exercise to keep their musculoskeletal system in working condition so that muscles can regrow and they could also get new life. So thank you very much. And with this, I will stop my talk and we will entertain any questions. Dr. Amtur Rahman, now the stage is yours to take from here.
Ji, Jazakallah, Dr. Saab, beautiful lecture, and we learned a lot today about fasting and about how it changes what are the changes in metabolic system, and the maximum 5 days fasting. I mean, that was amazing, amazing knowledge. Thank you, Jazakallah. And Dr. Aisha has raised her hand. I will unmute you. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for unmuting, and thank you so much, Dr. Hafiz Rahman. That was a wonderful presentation, and you came to the level of a normal human, how they can easily understand the method, what's going on when we fast. I really loved the lecture, and I will hope so we keep on going on this webinar series more and more, because this is how we can educate the community, and this is how we can educate the people to live longer and to survive without taking so much medications and diseases. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words and comments.
Any other questions? Do we have questions from YouTube?
No, so not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah. So Dr. Amtur Rahman, you are very health conscientious person. And so tell us, do you fast every day yourself?
I do intermittent fasting, since I've been talking to you. So just thank you so much. And I do, like when I wake up, I take my time to eat the first meal. And before that, nowadays, I'm drinking some apple cider vinegar and olive oil, mix in it in 8 ounce of water for my gut health and for my cholesterol.
Right.
So that is also helping me curb my appetite and keep the glucose levels down. And also, I do like 15-hour intermittent fasting almost every day because I wake up and then I do my class and stuff, which I'm doing. And then after that, I take my breakfast all around like 11:30 or 12. That's like brunch. And then I eat dinner. So in between, if I am hungry, then I just take some nuts or things like that. So it is helping, but I'm not perfect and I do slip in between.
Nobody's perfect, and this is a lifelong journey.
Right.
So nobody's perfect, but thank you for your insight on this because um, as a clinician, as you know, that you know firsthand that sometimes some of these practices we have to do them ourselves so
Right.
that we could become an example for our patients, right? And
Right.
we
Right.
might have some moral authority behind us to say, hey, we do it, and it has these benefits, and our body feels this way, right?
And I make like whites of the egg omelet for high cholesterol. If you have high cholesterol, sometimes doctors say that you can take out the yolk and you can make the whites of the egg as omelet, and then I can make that kind of omelet. And I whenever I eat healthy and I take picture and I usually send it to you or I put it on my Twitter account that today we are doing some tea, herbal tea, or we are doing some healthy style, like vegetarian or salads mostly. So those kind of diets, yes. And I take pictures and I have a lot of pictures. And I'm trying to write a book on that, but not so far.
Well, we are busy, and writing a book is very
It
difficult.
takes a lot of time, and I don't have time right now, Jazakallah.
Yeah. So the the thing is that I have like 7 or 8 people that work here in my office, and they all try their best to um, try to adhere to these guidelines. And the other day, I was at a business of a friend of mine who has a business close by, and she told me, Dr. Rahman, your staff are all like models. And I told them that I have not chosen models, but they became models, you know?
They're
So
walking around models in your office.
what's that?
Walking around models in your office.
Yeah. So and I'm, very happy that if I see people, doing better, it really creates a strange energy in me and satisfaction that I'm able to change somebody's life in whatever humble way I can, to teach them proper way. So you see, where we lost our way about 30 to 40 years ago when the food industry was literally uh, persuaded by the US government to kind of favor these shelf foods and processed foods because they had to feed a large population and let go away the real food, and that's where all the cardiovascular epidemic started from there.
And the GMO, Dr. Saab.
Yes, and GMO and all this poisonous drinks that came in on the name of health. I was amazed to learn that this supercharging the athletics bodies with fructose-based um, sugary drinks is so dangerous for their bodies. And even 10% of what they consume today will be able to be suffice according to some studies, that ketosis will come a lot faster for them and they will be able to perform better than those that have fructose loaded. I have a patient of mine who runs, and he has told me the other day, I saw his lab and he wanted to talk to me about his labs. And I told him that you're running marathon and you should not carb load before that. Rather, you should have only 10% of the carb loads and continue to consume real food, and you will see that your body will respond kindly, because that extra fructose, the problem with the fructose is that the only one tissue in a human body that has the capacity to process it, and that is the liver. And our liver is busy trying to deal with all other nutrients, all other toxins that are coming through it, that if we overload it with fructose, unfortunately, liver does not know what to do with it and converts it into fat. And that's why fat, even believe it or not, gets deposited in those high-end athletes too. And that's why no wonder majority of them, after they leave sports, they get so huge and big that they don't know what to do with themselves, because they've been used to consuming those toxic foods in order to hype up their energy. And then eventually their body is used to that, and then they don't know any better. And I've hardly seen an athlete that has kept themselves fit, other than in the modern era that I have props to him, Lionel Messi, or the football player from Argentina, or Ronaldo, who's from Ronaldo, I think his name is, or Ronaldo, from Portugal, that in even age 42, he's running and crossing other players. But fit people, fitness provides you longevity, fitness, particularly after 50. And there are so many sad stories that people, spend their 20 or 30 years of their life uh, trying to raise kids. And when it's their time, they are sick with comorbidities and with health issues, and they are on 5, 6 medications, then they cannot enjoy their life. They cannot do anything with their life properly. So that's actually is the best time to get their health back on the track so that they can enjoy their life that is rightfully theirs now that the kids are out of the door.
So, Dr. Saab, I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you think that more and more gluten sensitivity is because of the GMO? Because if you eat the golden wheat from Pakistan or from British UK, then you don't get that sensitivity. And also, more and more dairy sensitivity or intolerance, it might be because of over pasteurizing the milk.
Absolutely. You said it. There is answer to your question already in it. And also that changes the gut bacteria. Let's
Right.
not forget that we totally forget the larger part of our body that are living with us. They're part of us. And what was gifted to us from our mothers, they are not the same guys. And as a result, they are not behaving the same way in our guts. And who knows how much part they are playing in this whole thing, you know? So your question and your answer is absolutely on the mark. And well, I don't know what's the real solution to that is, honestly, unless we go back to our roots, go back
Right.
to our ancestral diet. That's the only way. I always have said that, and that might not sound good with a lot of people, but I'm here with honest talk, that reality is, if you look at the human history, human biology, carbohydrates are not mandatory for human body. They're not, you know?
And wheat was not part of our diets like unless
Correct.
200 years ago.
Yeah.
And these days also, if we eat more millet and what you call it, the besan gram flour, if you
Mhm.
eat roti made of that, it's much better than the one made by with wheat
Absolutely. You
and
got
white.
that absolutely correct, because the besan roti has a high protein, and that helps to. Um, but there are a lot of nutritionists out there, and with due respect to them, and they say that carbs are important. Our body has the ability to convert other nutrients into carbs. And I give example always for people that live on the poles, north and the south poles, where there's no vegetation. And yet you check their sugar, they're not consuming any carbs. They are pescatarian people. They're eating fish because that's what they got over there. And they still have blood sugar in their bloodstream. Where is that blood sugar coming from?
Right.
So let our own body convert those nutrients into the glucose. Now, nobody should be confused with this term. Glucose is the energy of life. All the cells use it. But let your body have the internal design to convert the glucose for energy, not that you put from outside. Because when you do that in excess, that's when you trigger insulin. That's when you exhaust your pancreatic capacity to continuously overproduce insulin to overcome uh, the sugars. And that's the problem. See, that's when I coined the early pre-diabetes term, because in our clinical practice, we found that there were clinical markers that indicated the existence of possible insulin resistance at least 10 years before pre-diabetes even starts.
Mhm.
Now, who's going to diagnose those people? Nobody's, like, medical literature doesn't even talk about it,
Right.
and that's the time to catch them and to treat them. Because when the
So,
pre-diabetes starts, as you know, or the diabetes, the microvascular damage is already taken place.
so the good carbs and the bad carbs. So if you check your blood sugar after 2.5 hours after eating, and your blood sugar has not gone too high, like above 180, or it stays like 140s and 50s, that's a good carb. And if you check it and it's gone above 180 or 200s, that's a carb that will trigger insulin release and trigger increased glucose. What do you call that?
Yes. That's why I recommend people to, because it would change your life if you wore CGM, continuous glucose monitor, because it would immediately give you an idea what substances that you consumed caused the sugar going up. And by the way, now, Dr. Amtul, there are stringent guidelines about the postprandial sugars, that in reality, in a real active, regular working human body, your body should not experience more than 140 blood sugar at any given time postprandial. If
Right,
it does, that means that you're inviting insulin to come in. Now, if
right.
you did that, even let's suppose you invited your insulin to come in, and it got released. Its job was initially to come out fast and go down quick. But
Mhm.
if it comes out slow and then stays longer in your body because it is sensing that the glucose is still high in your body, in your bloodstream, then that insulin itself is atherogenic. That's why when we use insulin from outside, it is the most atherogenic compound there is, meaning
And
that it is promoting cardiovascular disease.
that happens when you eat more protein with your food. So your sugar comes out slowly, and also it stays high longer. I mean, like normal longer, so that you don't get into hypoglycemia. But if you just take carbs, it goes peak up and then peak down.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
when the crash happens.
Then crash happens, right?
Yeah, and then when crash happens, people go back and again eat, and
Right.
again eat the same carb-loaded thing, and then crash happens again because insulin comes out, shorts it down, and they keep doing it. And until a
I
time
have, I
comes,
have learned, I have learned a very interesting thing. Maybe people will find it interesting that if your sugar is low and the alarm goes off, instead of running to get some food, stand up and move your arms and legs, and your glucose is released, and your glucose comes back normal level.
excellent
So
point.
yes,
Excellent point. Because many people tell me, oh, in the middle of the night, my CGM started beeping, and I got up right away. I took an orange juice. I said, oh my God, I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't tell me.
that's a reflex for everyone. They get scared of low
Yeah,
sugar.
because counter-regulatory hormones that are glucagon, norepinephrine, growth hormone, and cortisol, they get released to reverse that hypoglycemia that was caused by insulin. And
Right.
they will produce glucose from your body themselves, from lots of nutrients that are there. You're not going to go down unless you have a insulin dependency, meaning you're using insulin. On that case, yes, the hypoglycemia below 50 is dangerous. But if you're
Right.
not using insulin, do not worry, your body would have an excellent way to reverse it. I wore CGM for last 3 weeks, and I had several beeps that it went 54, 52. I did not even get up from my bed. I let those hormones work, and it came back to 70, 80, even all the way to 90.
It automatically, like after 10, 20 minutes, you look at the CGM again and it's back up to 70, 80, and then goes up to 100. In the morning, it goes up to 102, 104, even without eating. Although at night it was below 50 or was 53 or 54. But that's amazing. I mean, it helps us to learn it so that we can tell our patients that
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not going to go further low. Actually, you get up and you move around a little bit, the blood sugar will come up
Mm.
nicely.
There is a question here, Dr. Amtul.
Okay.
See what they're saying.
Okay, Islam, what other alternatives can there be to wheat flour other than gram flour and millet to make roti easily?
So you said it, you could say it again. They could use chickpeas, flour, the besan. They can use the
She
flour.
said in other than that, gram flour or millet. I think there is almond flour,
Mhm.
and people make out of that. We can make cakes out of almond flour, and that's a very healthy cake. And Dr. Saab, you can tell more. I think
So
millet and gram flour are two that I know that I use.
yeah, so there are flours available from what I understand from quinoa too.
Quinoa.
Uh, yeah, and that's an ancient grain from Peru, the fields of Peru initially. That's a 2,000 years old grain, so that is also an alternative to as a source. that
It
can be
is
used.
a high protein content. Yes.
Yes. So if we stay more towards the proteins and good fats at any given time, and that's the awareness and the understanding that we are trying to create, then all day, every day, you will be good. So that's why the mantra for us is uh, eat, do not fear good fats, eat proteins, consider them as structural nutrients, not as a nutrient for your energy. Because for your energy, fats and complex carbohydrates are enough, you know?
Right.
So, and that's why it would take us to the another discussion some other time, um, uh, that we what are the other alternative, food sources and that we could utilize for betterment of our bodies and bring that ketosis early. So that's another thing. If we are not, if we are metabolically more flexible, and there's a term metabolic flexibility, if our bodies are more in tune with that kind of framework, that your liver no longer has fat and you are consuming high proteins, good fats, you could bring ketosis during your faster a lot faster compared to somebody that it would take over 12 hours to achieve.
Mhm. So I was remembering that other proteins that are in nowadays, there is a roti or tortilla at Walmart available or other places. It says bee free, and I used to take a pita bread of bee free, but this tortilla is thin and it is 11 gram of protein in one roti, and that's a high protein for a roti. So
Right.
that has a pea protein, green pea protein, and it has tapioca, and it has brown rice and some potato uh, carbs, starch. So they mix these things and then they make that. It's not very tasty, but at least it's high protein.
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes the taste is also an acquired taste, right? Because our taste buds have been changed to accommodate sweet stuff. And so
Right.
it takes a long time to reverse that trend too within our bodies.
And most of our people are used to taking a roti and making a morsel and then dipping it in the salan and then eating it. So they have to have something of that sort so that they can satisfy themselves.
Mhm.
Without roti, they are not satisfied.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's no doubt. And I use the green leaves for the source of bread, and I utilize those for when I'm eating meat or fish or chicken, instead of these carby-based foods that would rock my sugars. Particularly now that I'm wearing CGM, I'm like totally surprised. You
mhm.
know,
So there is another question. What
yeah.
are what are good fats in our daily food?
Well, good fats, a good question. Good lot of good fats, and that's an excellent question. Good fats start with eggs. Eggs are good fats. Greek yogurt is good fat. Whole milk is a good fat. Nuts are good fats. So these are some of
Olives and
olive,
avocado.
exactly. Olives and avocados are good fats. Um, so there are lots of these examples of good fats. So you could incorporate them in your daily life. They provide satiety, and they, by the way, they get consumed for the cell membrane synthesis and for hormones. So you have to eat an extreme excessive amount of these fats in order for you to make them fats. So people are concerned about eating fat and that fat converts into fat. No, when you combine fats with those ready-made carbohydrates, that is where the liver has the selection to convert your fat into a fat. If you would not give that choice to your liver, then the things would be completely different. So that's where you got to understand. Not only this, if you mix your food with these carbohydrates, your satiety cues are also messed up. And you have a tendency to eat much more higher amount of proteins and fats compared to if you were consuming them alone. And I give
Mhm.
you an example of, for example, the other day, me and my son, he's 6'3". He's a big guy, and me and him, we sat and we ordered a porterhouse steak, but we had it cooked with the butter, and we had some asparagus with it. Believe it or not, there was no other fat, there was no other carbohydrates there.
Mhm.
We could not finish the steak, both of
Yeah,
us together.
it satisfies you
Yes,
really fast. Yeah.
yeah. So
So
that's the
the
whole thing.
so the question is that what is good fat? So I think that good fats have more omega-3, and you have to raise your level of omega-3 and decrease the level of omega-6, which is
Absolutely.
not healthy for us. So omega-3 actually squelches the bad cholesterol, and it removes from your body and it's excreted. So that's why we have to have more omega-3 and less. So that is more in olives and in avocado and in some nuts, I think. Can you
Absolutely.
explain why porterhouse satiated you?
So remember the fats, when the fats gets consumed, they trigger cholecystokinin, which is a hormone that tells your brain no more food. So the high fatty food triggers that, and high
Yes.
protein food triggers PYY, the enzyme. So as a result, these two, and then the high fiber uh, fruit vegetables trigger stretch receptors in the stomach. So that's how these three things together, stretch receptors, the PYY, and the cholecystokinin together creates a huge satiety signal to your brain, causing your brain to not, to force you to stop eating. So you kind of have a natural GLP effect going.
Yeah. And
So
when we used to do the Atkin diet, when you eat more meats and fat, and that's when you see that you can't eat too much.
that's correct.
You just eat little and then you are full.
Yeah. And
So
then you look at your CGM and there is
yes,
no spike at all. I have
you
wore
get
it
it.
and I've eaten it.
It's
No
beautiful.
spike. I mean, my
Yeah.
baseline is 90-ish, that, and then it goes up to 115, 16, but it doesn't rise from there. But
Mhm.
whenever I mixed it with any carbohydrates, just deliberately to see these ready carbohydrates, it shoot up 140. I had the other
Right.
day a slightly higher amount of honey, for example, and
Mhm.
it rocked my sugar beyond my imagination. So,
Mm.
you know, we gotta be smart for our bodies. And if we do smart eating, we will feel healthy, our skin would rejuvenate. And like I said, we will bring ketosis a lot quicker in our fasting journey, and we will have better bang for the buck.
So thank you, Dr. Saab. I think our time is up, right?
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much for such an enlightening lecture, and then all this discussion. I hope that it has helped our audience, and we will continue to bring you more topics from Dr. Hafiz Rahman, inshallah, in future. Jazakallah for attending.
Thank
Assalamu
you.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
So how